Chapter 13. Lucky number 13. My sister was born on 13th, so I've always loved 13. And this is a good one. Legacy is greater than currency. You know, a lot of the other chapters were important, but for life, this is the big one, so please pay attention. It used to be that only people in the public eye had to worry about controlling their message. They used teams of stylists and publicists to shape their image, and even the media acted more as a guardian than a snitch. No one knew about our president's affairs or actors' drug habits or a tycoon's backroom deals. Those days are long gone. Let me just jump out of here real quick. Mickey Mantle was out of his mind. I mean, could you imagine the Mick in this day and age? Nobody would be protecting him. He would have probably been out of baseball in a couple years. We are now all in the public eye, swimming around in a clear glass fishbowl of our own making. With every email and video and blog post, tweet and status update, we add to the real-time documentary of our own lives. For the person who thinks of himself or herself as a brand, and remember, everyone needs to start thinking of themselves as a personal brand, the ability to spread your great ideas and share your triumphs is a golden opportunity. The downside to this, of course, is that if you mess up or things go wrong, there's no longer anywhere to hide. The public can be forgiving when it wants to be, but rather than test its generosity, I urge you to start training yourself to think through the consequences of every business decision you make before you actually make it. Perhaps that sounded like obvious advice, but I know for a fact that many people have a hard time thinking long term. Successful entrepreneurs are like good chess players. They can imagine the various possibilities ahead and how each one will trigger the next move. Too many people, however, can't think past their first move. Worse, some don't care to. Like a small number of CEOs who know they'll be gone in 2 or 3 years and just want the stock price to go up no matter what the long-term impact on the company is. They're all about what's good for their business today. That kind of thinking is at the root of a lot of really crap judgment calls, the kind that will sink a personal brand. Achieving 100% happiness is the whole point of living your passion, of course. But to my mind, that happiness is unachievable if you don't recognize that with every decision you make, you're building more than just business. You're building your legacy. For all of us made of ambitious, competitive, hungry DNA, the urge to take our personal brands as far as it will go is second nature. But let me assure you that if you're coming exclusively from a monetizing angle, you're going to lose. How you build your business is so much more important than how much money you will make doing it. Yes, I want to buy the New York Jets. Yes, I intend to crush it. But as I build my brand and make money and work to achieve my goals, I'm always hyper aware that everything I'm doing is being recorded for eternity. It does bother me a little that all the cursing I do in my keynotes is going to become part of my story. Yet, I have to embrace that's part of my DNA, and it's the way I express myself when I give keynotes on stage. I don't know if I'm influenced that much by Richard Pryor, but I think I am. I grew up loving Pryor and listening to all his tapes, and I truly believe that when I hit the stage, I get a little Pryor-esque, and that's what's really going on. I want to be proud of what I do. I want my kids and my grandkids and my great-grandkids to be proud of me. This is why every decision I make is weighed in terms of currency versus legacy. Will this business deal make me money? Yes, good. Will I be proud of how I made that money? Yes. Okay, then let's do it. If the answer was no, I never go there. Legacy always trumps currency. My obsession with legacy should explain to you why I insist on trying to answer every email, tweet, ping, poke, or comment. Back in the early days, I used to reply within a couple of hours. Now the volume of my correspondence has gotten so overwhelming that it may take a few months for me to get back to people. But I guarantee you, I will always try to. If I realize I'm falling behind because I have a brutal schedule or I'm busy, I'll shoot off a short video explaining what's going on and try to respond to everybody as soon as possible. Now, a lot of you are thinking that I'm out of my mind for keeping up with this. In the beginning, many people thought it was cute, but now I think many people think it's insane. After all, I'm on the social network radar. I may be only a triple Z-list celebrity, but it would be fair to say I've done all right by myself and I've secured an interested, loyal audience through my particular brand of perseverance and hard work. Surely some well-meaning friends have suggested people would understand if I had to delegate my correspondence or even started to pick out and choose which people to personally reply to. That's not how it works, not in my world anyway. No matter how big I get, every email, every customer, every friend, every single person with whom you come in contact with deserves the respect and attention. Not because you never know who's going to be a good contact or resource later on, although, by the way, that is a huge reason, but because if someone takes the time to reach out to you, it's your obligation to reciprocate. That said, the truth is my email volume is getting to a point where I fear that I may have to adjust in a totally dramatically different way. But Rest assured, I will find a way to remain accessible to my friends and fans for as long as I breathe. Legacy is a mortar of successful, lasting brands. I've known this since my days in retail. There was one year where I found out that a customer in Westchester hadn't received her case of White Zinfandel. It was December 22nd, and there was no way FedEx was going to be able to deliver it to her in time for Christmas. My order department had received the complaint, but because the customer was neither a regular customer nor a particularly large one, they hadn't brought it directly to my attention. By the time I got wind of the problem, there was only one thing left to do. I threw a case of Behringer White Zin in my car and drove 3 hours in the snow to the woman's house. Did I mention she lived in another state? Did I mention that this was by far the busiest time of year? Clearly, my time was more valuable to spend in the store during those 6 hours it took me to execute this. And believe me, there was no serious angle behind what I was doing. The customer was an older lady who lived far away and wasn't going to be a hotbed for big business. But I wanted to prove a point to my customers and, more importantly, to my employees. I was creating culture. Guys, if anything this audiobook delivers to you, it's about culture and DNA. It's never about the individual moment. I lost money on that 6 hours. Lots of it probably. But I made a point that would allow me to make money over the next several years because the core people in my company had realized how seriously I take customer service. And we are all going to be in the customer service business as word of mouth continues to scale and create a small town feel in our society.